So guys, I'm going to show you a quick video on how to take out your timing chain tensioner. It's pretty easy as far as steps are concerned, especially if you're like me and you have headers. It's right over there. You see the block off plate? Right here. So it's going to be on the right, bottom right of your header, right above that pulley. It's a little bright down here, so I apologize. Right over here, this block off plate is. Essentially, it's right behind this. It's 2 bolts. One at the bottom, one right up there at the top. They're two 10mm, actually nuts, I believe. They're two 10mm nuts. I'm not focusing on the right thing. There we go. Over on this side, you just take them out real slowly, just so the thing doesn't fully back out. As you can see, my car has been leaking some oil due to this because the O-ring has failed within it, or the actual tensioner itself, but I figured the part is cheap enough. The car's 155,000 miles. Why not just change it? A lot of people just change the O-ring, which is, I think, probably 8 to 10 bucks. The actual tensioner is 40 bucks, 45 bucks. So I'm just going to get started on pulling that out now. Like I said, it's just these two right there. And I'm just going to oscillate between taking the top and bottom one off little by little, just so the thing doesn't pop out. And I'm going to make sure that I don't remove one bolt at a time, or I eventually will remove one bolt at a time, but I want to back them both out until it comes all the way back, just to make sure if there's any tension on it, it doesn't spring back or anything like that. I'm going to do that real quick. Alright, so I was able to remove my two 10mm nuts right there, but as you can see, the backing plate's still in there, so I'm going to go in there with a pry tool. There's my little tool right here. Just going to use that to not block the camera, just to lightly bring this out. So like I said, there might be a little bit of tension on it. I already see a little bit of air. Just lightly take it out. Just needs a little tap, tap, tap-a-roo. That's pretty much it. So you can see it's slowly coming out. Probably can't see it because it's too damn hard to see. But it's slowly coming out. There's just a little hint of air in there. Alright, so I'm going to get my screwdriver and help me get it out. It's a little pain to come out because essentially you have like a backing plate here that's rested on these two studs that hold your 10mm nuts. And the backing plate is really the housing for the tensioner. The tensioner is right on the other side of it, right in there. So I'm just going to get my screwdriver or something like that and pry this guy out. Alright, so with... oh my god, this thing is blasting. Alright, so with my screwdriver, I was able to pull it out. I'll at least back it out. So I want to just take this guy out. And you want to take note of the orientation of how it came out. So got our little dimple up here, our O-ring, and then you can see the retainer is on the top side to your right. This is like the clip that essentially just holds this thing closed. I'm trying to figure out why this failed also. The O-ring looks to be okay. It's hard, but that's to be expected. Huh, interesting. Normally you think this has some gouges in it or something like that, but it's good to know. Alright, so this is obviously in the open position right now. I'll show you the new one that I bought from Monkey Wrench Racing. That is over here. Okay, I'll put this guy down. Let's see, all this on one shot. And if you can tell, this one is in actually the closed position right here. So you can see you're supposed to release this. That eventually becomes like this. It gets bigger, you know, it gets exciting. That was all. But it remains to be the truth. So I'll be replacing it with that. Like I said, I got this from Monkey Wrench Racing. Here's the part number, 13540-0D010. It's supposedly a Toyota genuine part. There's lots of them available. I don't know if this makes a difference or not, but I like monkey wrench racing. They do MR2, Elise, all that stuff. So I'm just gonna put it right back in. Essentially, all I want to do before I put this in. Like I said, orientation is super important when you're doing it. And then I just want to clean the overall area. And I might go inside and boroscope to see what my chain looks like. But I'm just going to stick it inside. Come with me. Alright, so we're just going to be putting the part in. Like I said, I'm not replacing the O-ring. But if you do replace the O-ring, obviously it's over here. You're going to be prying that off in this direction, obviously. So this is open right now. When you want to set it inside your car, you want to make sure it's in the closed position. That's why I bought a new one. I mean, it's just easy. You just depress this, and then you use this little guy over here. See if I can do it with my finger to just catch right up onto here. So, like I said, I'm not going to depress this because I want to make sure I get a new one in here. But I want to inspect. That's not great as far as a wear pattern is concerned. Maybe it's a good thing that I'm replacing this because that wear pattern does not look great. Whereas this one is obviously unmarred. It's brand new. If you look at that, that's not super great, honestly. And I mean, it was leaking really bad. And honestly, the O-ring seems fine, so it's not great. It's like dry and maybe a little undersized. If you see, it's kind of hard to tell compared to this one. But that one looks so much bigger. This one looks like it shrunk down, or maybe they put the wrong sized O-ring on it after like a replacement, because that looks substantially smaller than this one does. But so it's important to remember when you're putting it back in the car, obviously, it's orientation of where you're going to put it. This is how I pulled it out. This is the top side. What will help you figure it out is this little dimple you can see over here is going to be on your right side. So that's actually the really easy way to remember it. But your plunger is going to be on your left side, and then your dimple is going to be on your right side. And since mine is compressed already, which is great, I just stick it back in the hole. You get your dowels to help you line it up, and I'm going to do this with my other hand. So I'll be back. Alright, so I was able to push it back in by hand. This damn light keeps flickering. Alright. So then I just got my 10mm nuts. Then I get started over here. Don't want to lose these guys. The top one's a little precarious to get on. So I'm going to do these guys by hand because it makes my life way easier. It's not that much room down here, especially if you have a full exhaust manifold. You shouldn't by now, but if you do, you got yours. Cat's pre-gutted. Pre-cat's gutted. You're getting gutted. Ignore that noise. Alright, and then you just want to torque it up. So I checked the torque specs for this. It's supposed to be 8 foot-pounds. Now my torque wrench doesn't go below 20 foot-pounds, so it's not great. So I'm going to tighten this up and see if I can borrow one. Just to, you know, be accurate about this kind of stuff. This is not tightening at all. Space is very limited down here. Very limited. Apologize for all the noise. Like I said, limited space. Oh my God. There we go. That was awful. But I'm gonna go get a torque wrench that's gonna have like a lower spec, or see if I can borrow one. I mean, gotta be honest, 8 foot-pounds is really light. It'd be good to set it correctly, but I'm gonna get it anyways just to see what's going on with that. So I'll torque this up, and then I'll just show you how to release your tensioner. Because like I said, mine was compressed, and the way it sits in the engine, obviously it needs to be not compressed. And not looking like it has that kind of wear. Not great. Alright, so I'll show you how to do that. As you have to release the timing chain tensioner, what you have to do to essentially just expand it, because as you can see, this is fully expanded right there. You actually have to move the engine backwards, apparently like about a quarter of a turn, until you hear a click. And the click means that the tensioner is released and essentially is set. So you have your 19mm bolt on your crank, and the space is really tight in here, so you have to be really cognizant about how you're doing this. I currently have a 3/8 ratchet on there with my 19mm, and I'm going to use this extension to move it back, but can't exactly mount this in a good enough place for you guys to see, so I'm going to try to do my best to do that. Alright, can't really see it, but you can kind of just see where. It's just one-handed. I'm going to rotate the engine backwards, hopefully a quarter of a turn. So I'm still rotating. I believe that's the click I was looking for. Alright, so the last things you want to do is after you set your timing chain tensioner by moving the engine backwards till you hear it click, you want to go ahead and move your engine forward. So it's going to be rotating your crank pulley. That's the rusty guy all the way down here, down there. With your 19mm, you just want to rotate it forward to make sure everything seems like it's running properly and whatnot, that it just turns over smoothly. And then lastly, you just want to fire up your engine to make sure everything's good to go. It's my last step. I'm going to fire the engine. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or concerns, I'll leave a link for the tensioner that I used. Got it from Monkey Wrench Racing. You guys can get it anywhere, but I don't know. I like them. They have good parts, and they use factory parts for some stuff. So in this case, it was. But yeah, if you guys got any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you like videos like this, you can feel free to subscribe. Thank you. Bye.